You never truly needed that seaside retreat, did you? It's just sitting there, unused. My sister tossed those words at me with a smirk, as if they were the punchline to some cruel, unending family jest. Her taunt lingered, sharp and splintered, burrowing into my thoughts for months. But when I saw the footage, when the reality hit, their mockery wasn't just careless. It was a violation. A betrayal. Hello, I'm Claire, 29 years old. If you think time mends family scars, wait until they're rubbed raw while you're tethered to a hospital bed. What do you call it when the people who gave you your identity treat it like something to trample? I can still hear the sterile buzz of the hospital lights, my body fragile, tethered to the drip feeding life into my veins. My phone vibrated, a message from an old friend, a link. I clicked, unprepared for the world to shift beneath me. There it was, my cabin, my refuge by the ocean, my sanctuary. But instead of quiet, instead of calm, there they were. The camera swept across the living room. My brother's kids darting across the polished floors, confetti strewn like they belonged there. My mother pouring wine, toasting with my sister, balloons pinned to my rafters, music blaring through speakers I'd chosen myself. My curtains flung open to the vast, salty horizon. They'd turned my private haven into their theater. My breath caught, shallow and sharp. The hospital's antiseptic bite mingled with a bitter tang in my throat. Betrayal, I learned, has a metallic aftertaste. My heart pounded, not from sickness, but from fury. With shaking hands, I sent the video to my husband. No words, just the clip. 10 minutes dragged by, then 20. My pulse marked each second, my body strung tight in the quiet. Finally, a text, on my way. I pictured him driving, jaw clenched, eyes shadowed. My sacred space had been defiled, but he would be the one to walk into their laughter and snuff it out. An hour later, the cabin door groaned open in the video's final moments. My husband stepped inside, his silhouette bending the shadows. The music stopped abruptly mid-note. Their voices wavered, glasses hovering mid-toast. The party froze, brittle as ice on the verge of cracking. For the first time in weeks, I exhaled. The first sound wasn't his voice. It was the deliberate scrape of his boots on the wooden floor, each step a measured echo. I imagined the scene through my friend's unsteady lens. My husband framed in the doorway, sea breeze trailing him. He didn't yell. He didn't need to. His silence roared louder than words. My sister's laugh broke first, her grip tightening on her glass as if it could shield her. Her eyes flicked to my father. My mother, ever the performer, forced a smile. "Oh, you're here," she said, as if he'd been expected. He didn't respond. He just raised his phone, the screen glowing with the same video I'd sent. Their laughter echoed back into the room, a reflection they couldn't escape. My father's jaw clenched. "Claire wouldn't care," he mumbled, but the lie shattered before it hit the walls. "Claire," my husband said, his voice low and cutting, "is in the hospital." The room went rigid. Balloons bobbed in the draft, absurd props in a space that wasn't theirs. The kids' giggles faded into murmurs. My mother's face paled. She set her wine glass down too fast, and it tipped, red spilling across the wood. My brother swore under his breath, eyes narrowing, but he stayed rooted. My husband took another step. "You broke into her sanctuary. You threw a party in her refuge. Do you even grasp what you've done?" His voice stayed steady, each word precise, slicing deep. For once, they looked diminished. My parents, my siblings, who'd always loomed over me with criticism and control, now cornered in my own living room, caught in their own arrogance. In my hospital bed, I shut my eyes, picturing it as he'd later describe. The silence that fell over them was like a landslide. No one dared breathe too loudly. My sister tried again. "She won't mind," she said, but he cut her off, voice cold and unwavering. "She built this place to escape you." Those words landed like blades, the truth heavy in the air. The ocean outside thundered against the windows, as if it, too, bore witness. And I knew this wasn't the end. It was the start. The silence after his words cut deeper than any shout. A silence so piercing it felt like the sea itself held its breath. My brother spoke first, his voice sharp. "It's just a house," he said, as if he could reduce my pain to bricks and beams. "She wasn't even here." My husband didn't flinch. "It's not just a house," he said. "It's hers." Every plank, every nail, every view through those windows, she earned it. She chose it. And you treated it like garbage. I could picture their eyes darting, guilt sparking but pride fighting to hold on. My mother pressed her lips tight, avoiding his gaze. Silence was her weapon. Silence instead of apology. Silence instead of love. In my hospital bed, I gripped the thin blanket, nails digging in. Each of his words was a shield, guarding what I couldn't. My sister rolled her eyes, but her voice trembled as she tried to laugh. You're blowing this out of proportion. We were just having a party. A party for what? He cut in. Her absence? Her pain? The music system sat silent, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. No one dared touch it. No one dared move. You don't get it. My husband continued, softer but sharper. This place isn't just her refuge. It's her proof she doesn't need you to stand tall. My father stood then, shoulders squared, trying to reclaim control he'd already lost. You don't speak for this family, he snapped. My husband stepped closer, calm as a gathering storm. No, but I speak for my wife. The word wife hit like a pebble in still water, rippling through their frozen celebration. For once, they had no retort, no way to twist the truth. In my chest, despite the IV's hum, I felt stronger than I had in years. My father's face flushed, the old anger I'd always feared rising. But this time, I wasn't the one shrinking. My husband stood firm, unyielding as the tide. You think a cabin makes her free? My father spat. She'll always need us. She'd be nothing without family. Those words once would have shattered me. They had before. But hearing them now, through a hospital phone, something shifted. The four dripped steadily, my heart racing, not with fear, but with clarity. My husband didn't waver. She survived you, he said softly. The room fell into a silence so heavy even the kids felt it. My mother clasped her hands, as if in prayer, but said nothing. My brother muttered about overreactions, but his voice broke under the strain. I could see it, as if I stood there. The salt-stained curtains swaying in the sea breeze, the wine stains spreading like a wound they couldn't conceal. Their party, their victory was unraveling. My sister scoffed, but it rang hollow. She's too weak. Always has been. My husband turned to her, his gaze pinning her in place. Weak, he echoed. She built this cabin herself. She saved for years while you ridiculed her. She signed every contract without you. Weak people don't create freedom, they steal it. Which one are you? The ocean roared outside, as if cheering, affirming. In my hospital bed, tears stung my eyes, not from pain but from release. He was voicing every truth I'd buried, every fear I'd silenced. And I realized the cabin wasn't just my retreat, it was my battleground. Tonight, I was winning. My brother slammed his glass down, the sound jarring the room. You think you're above us because you bought some shack by the sea? His words dripped with jealousy, thinly veiled as scorn. We built this family. You're nothing without us. My husband's reply came calm, each word a blade slotting into place. Funny. She bought this cabin without you. She pays her way without you. The only thing she got from this family was doubt. The kids sat wide-eyed, balloons sagging, forgotten. Even the ocean seemed to hush, the world leaning in. My mother's voice, soft and trembling, finally broke through. We didn't mean to hurt her. We just wanted to be together. My husband exhaled, almost a laugh, but bitter. Together? You excluded her from holidays. You mocked her choices, her career, her marriage. And now you party in the one place she thought was hers. That's not togetherness. That's invasion. The four felt cold in my vein as heat surged in my chest. His words weren't just protection, they were truth etched in stone. My father tried again, his authority fraying. She'll forgive us. She always does. But I whispered into the hospital air, not this time. My husband echoed it for them, resolute. Not this time. The silence that followed was heavier than any argument. A silence where their masks slipped, their excuses crumbled. I pictured them shifting, faces pale against the warm cabin glow, the sea breeze curling in like judgment. For once, they couldn't rewrite the narrative. The truth was no longer theirs to shape. And in that silence, I realized forgiveness wasn't my obligation. It was my choice to grant or deny, Tonight I denied it. My sister's voice sliced through, sharper than the wind outside. She doesn't even love this place, she said, desperation seeping through. She only bought it to flaunt it. That's who she is, always trying to outshine us. The accusation stung, but it didn't break me. It ignited me. My husband's response was immediate, steady as rock. If she wanted to flaunt it, she'd have invited you. She kept it hidden because peace was something she couldn't trust you with. The room must have stilled again, the truth sinking like fog. My brother stepped in, pride flaring. She's selfish. We've carried her for years. My husband cut him off. Carried? You mean controlled. You mean mocked. Every step she took forward, you tried to pull her back. I pressed my palm into the hospital blanket, nails biting the fabric. His words sliced through years of weight I'd carried. Finally, my mother broke, her voice trembling on the edge of breaking. We just didn't want her to leave us behind. There it was, the truth beneath their mockery and trespass. Not love, not care, but fear. Fear that I could build something without them. Fear that I could stand whole, without their approval. My husband's reply was gentle but firm. She didn't leave you behind. You left her the moment you chose pride over love. The sea outside pounded, matching my pulse. Their party wasn't about joy. It was about control slipping away. They weren't celebrating me. They were mocking the life I'd dared to create. With every word, their excuses shattered, their masks cracked wide. My father's voice rose, brittle but defiant, his last defense. This is still family. Blood is thicker than walls and wood. You can't erase us with some property. But his words rang empty, even to him. My husband's face didn't shift. Blood doesn't give you the right to hurt her, he said. Love does, and you've never offered it. The truth lay bare, undeniable. My sister crossed her arms, hands shaking. You think this marriage makes her untouchable? She'll come running back. She always does. My breath caught in the hospital bed. How easily they diminished me. How certain they were of my silence. Then my husband spoke, what I'd never dared. She's not coming back. She's standing tall. And when she leaves you behind this time, it's for good. My mother's eyes welled, but her tears weren't for me. They were for their crumbling control, their fading narrative. The cabin stood silent with them, its walls holding memory and defiance. Balloons drooped, the wine stains spreading like proof. What began as their celebration had soured into their reckoning. I pictured my husband reaching for the door, hand on the knob. His final words cut through the night. Enjoy the sea breeze one last time. You're not welcome here again. The door's slam echoed to my hospital bed. I could almost hear the ocean rushing in, reclaiming what was mine. In that moment, I knew they hadn't just been barred from my cabin. They'd been barred from my life. The reckoning wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It was a silence, heavy and final. The morning after, the hospital felt different. The light through the blinds was gentler, less harsh. My phone buzzed with messages, my family frantic, trying to rewrite the story. We didn't mean it like that. It was just one night. Don't let him turn you against us. Each text dripped with the same venom. Excuses posing as apologies, fear dressed as love. I set the phone down, listening to the monitor's steady beep. For the first time, it didn't feel like a countdown. It felt like a new beginning. A week later, I returned to the cabin. The air carried salt and pine, the sea rolling against the rocks. The wine stains lingered on the wood. Faint but there, a scar like me. I didn't erase them. They stayed as a reminder. My family never returned. They couldn't. My husband ensured it with new locks, cameras, and boundaries drawn not just in walls but in truth. And I ensured it with silence, not weakness, but power chosen. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I simply stopped responding. Word spread fast. Invitations they once flaunted dwindled. Neighbors murmured about the party that ended in disgrace. My sister's laughter grew brittle in public. My father's confidence crumbled into quiet. They tried to claim my sanctuary, but instead, they bared their own emptiness. I didn't need vengeance with flames. I needed only the cold weight of their choices to settle over them. On the porch, I watched the horizon glow gold. My husband handed me a coffee mug, his hand grazing mine, steady and anchoring. The world was still, save for the sea. In that stillness, I felt complete. This wasn't just a cabin anymore. It was proof I could build something untouchable, something mine. And in the end, justice didn't come from breaking them. It came from refusing to let them break me again.